Hello, my fellow Raspberry Barrel enthusiasts. It's your girl, Raspberry Barrel here, and we're back to read another biography of Muni. And today we'll be reading another biography by Infamixy. And today's Royal Majesty that we'll be reading about is Zeusia, the Queen of Clouds. I hope you all are excited to get back into Infamixy's biographies. So once again, this biography belongs to Infamixy. A link to their page will be in the description. Make sure to go check them out and the rest of their wonderful AU. Hope you guys are ready and excited. Please forgive me if I stutter, hesitate, or mispronounce anything, and for any noises in the background. Let's get started. Zeusia, the Queen of Clouds, daughter of the night, with poofy blue hair, she loved the clouds with excitement as bright as a flare. Zeusia Butterfly, the Queen of Clouds. Born 380 AM, died 440. Was Queen 400 through 418. Husband, Finch Redbird. Children, Sidereal Butterfly, Ethereal Butterfly, and Germania Butterfly. Zeusia was born on a stormy night in the year of 380, earning Zeusia her name meaning Daughter of Storms in High Munian language. She had pale blue hair from her parental grandmother and light blue clouds on her cheeks. Zeusia obtained her mother, Queen Etheria's, proper and respectful attitude. Even as a kid, she kept good posture and manners and proper behavior, but from a young age she was rather shy and kept to herself. Another attribute about Zeusia was her intelligence. She was especially good in math, as her math teacher reported her geometry and multiplication skills as excellent. Going along with her name and cheeks, Zeusia loved sky-gazing in the clouds. She loved going to the top of her tower or out into the courtyard and gazing at the fluffy clouds and beautiful day. During a little tea party organized by Etheria with some of the other noble children in 388, Zeusia was enjoying a little cup of tea while talking with her friends when Finch Redbird spit tea on Zeusia's dress. Being embarrassed, Zeusia fled the room, crying down the hall into her room and wouldn't come out for the rest of the day. The event led Zeusia to be spiteful and passive-aggressive towards Finch, but he didn't really care and instead called her sensitive and a crybaby. During the summer of 390, a plebeian man had got his hands on the very powerful and rare magical crystals, Celestite, a crystal that can control weather. The crystal is so rare it can only be found in 12 dimensions throughout the entire multiverse, with one of them being Muni. How the man got his hands on the crystal is unknown, but he tried using it in a religious practice of some sort and ended up causing a massive thunderstorm. Everyone in the Butterfly Kingdom had to stay inside for 2 months. That is, if they even had a home. The rain droplets were so huge they crashed through roofs, and the thunder was almost constantly happening every 3 minutes. Thankfully, the Butterfly Palace was safe. Finally, in the beginning of the fall, Etheria was able to revert the weather using one of Lunaria, the Queen of Tides, spells, and the crystals were confiscated. Despite the storm being gone, it only further fueled her passion for weather and clouds. Zeusia's wand, Storm Summoner. 2 weeks before her wand ceremony in 394, Zeusia's parents announced to her during a dinner that she would be having an arranged marriage. Zeusia didn't mind much, at least for that time. A week later one night, Zeusia was called down from her room by Etheria. She entered the room her parents were in, and was surprised when she saw Finch and his parents sitting across a table from her parents. When she sat down, Germaine announced she would be marrying Finch. Zeusia then gained a look of horror and lost her composure, something she rarely did, and let out a giant "Ugh!" before storming off. Zeusia inherited the wand later that week. She quickly moved through basic spells before studying the ones she was most interested in, like her mother's, Skywinds, Universalias, and most importantly, Lunarias, as she was her favorite queen of all time. During the balls and dances, Zeusia would be forced by her parents to dance with Finch, which resulted in her and Finch being gloomy at balls and ceremonies. One time Finch stepped on Zeusia's gown while dancing, resulting in her falling, to which she got up and smacked Finch straight across the face, receiving a loud gasp from the crowd. One time, though, during dancing, Zusia and Finch began talking. It's unknown why or who started the conversation, but they began to find out they had a lot in common. They both loved clouds, reading, and they shared the favorite past Queen Lunaria. After that dance, they continued talking and went from enemies to friends. On her 19th birthday in 399, Zusia received a scholarship to Elfindor from Etheria and Germain, and so did her sister Celia. They would depart the next morning, saying goodbye to Muni. Zusia took a 5-year course on weather, as well as a course on magic objects. She was an incredible student and got amazing grades. She also used her new knowledge of weather to strengthen her magic and spells, just as Queen Lunaria did. Zusia also studied from her many books Queen Lunaria wrote, not only for her magic, but for her studying and tests. Zusia graduated in 400 AM, and so did Celia. When they returned to Muni, they were met with war. Etheria and Germain immediately sent them to the sanctuary with 3 other royal knights. Zusia was very nervous the whole time, and even practiced spells with the knights in case she had to fight. Thankfully, nothing had happened, and the war ended peacefully. Etheria and Germain were going to attend the wedding on Princess Lupius and Princess Laurel. Zusia hugged her parents goodbye, and they left, leaving for the wedding. Zusia's crown. A week passed, and Etheria and Germain hadn't returned. Zusia started to feel nervous and worry until one fateful night. Zusia was approached by a royal guard, telling her she was needed in the Situation Room. When she arrived, the Magic Eye Commission was there, as well as the Ministers and her sister. There were 2 white bags on the table that reeked a terrible scent. When the Magical Eye Commission opened the bags, Zusia, Celia, and the Ministers were met with the naked dead corpses of her parents. Zusia immediately started crying and hugging her parents' corpses, while Celia fainted and the Ministers gasped. Zusia noticed a note from Queen Minerva Lupus and read it out loud, saying, "As returning the favor, don't march north if you don't want to share her fate, and peace between our kingdoms will maintain." Zusia had a mental breakdown that night, and Celia wouldn't come out of her room. Zusia only found comfort in Finch, who had talked to and cried in his lap as he stroked her hair. Zusia's coronation was held 3 days later. While she was walking down the aisle, she had to hold back tears from shooting out her eyes, although she did find slight happiness during her and Finch's wedding. Zusia had to choose between attacking and killing Minerva Lupus and destroying the Lupus Kingdom, or seeking peace with the Lupus Kingdom. She was pressured by the Magic High Commission and some of the ministers to wage war, while Finch, Celia, and some of the other ministers told her to try and accomplish peace. Zusia was split, as she wanted to avenge her parents, but at the same time didn't want to cause conflict. Zusia was pressured into sending troops to set up camp in front of the Lupus Kingdom and gave in, strengthening the tensions between the kingdoms even more. One day during dusk, Zusia was reading in her room to ease her mind when a guard came into her room yelling the news that Celia and Finch had been kidnapped by Minerva, and a note said, "Since you clearly didn't obey my order, I took your loved ones, and Celestia knows what I'll do to them next. At least be grateful that I spared you." Zusia dropped the note, mortified, and closed her eyes before reopening them as they glowed. She jumped outside the window and summoned her butterfly wings and transformed into her butterfly form. A bunch of gray raining clouds formed around her and expanded and got bigger. They started to strike lightning until it was full storm, and with that she stormed off to the Lupus Kingdom. When she approached the kingdom and landed in front of the army camp, and she yelled, "Attack!" as the army roared and ran into battle with the Lupus's army. Zusia struck lightning bolts and giant raindrops down on the troops. She created massive tornadoes and created whirlpools. When the army was defeated, Zusia calmed her storm and returned down to the ground. She rushed into the castle and slayed any more knights or soldiers that were left before running to Minerva's room. She broke down the door only to find Minerva on a chair facing the window with a knife drilled into her head that had a note attached to it. Zusia pulled out the note and it read, "A wolf or a butterfly, death gives gifts to all." Zusia searched the room for Finch and Celia and found them hanging upside down in the closet. She untangled the string they were in and hugged Celia and kissed Finch. Minerva's body was buried, and King Laurel was pronounced new king of the Laurel Kingdom. When Zeusia returned to Muni, she went to the statues of her father and mother and placed flowers on them, saying, "I did it, mother and father. I did it. I love you." A month later, Zeusia conceived her first child. She later gave birth to Sideria, a girl with orange hair and dark green four-leaf clovers on her cheeks. After Zeusia got used to ruling the kingdom, she decided to record all her studies on weather magic in a book, which she later named the Saint Zeusia's Book of Weather Magic. Zeusia gave birth to twins in 402, whom she named Germania and Etherio after her parents. Germania had light blue hair and purple eyes, while Etherio had red hair and purple eyes. In 404, a group of bandits killed Queen Ponyhead and 3 of her children and kidnapped the youngest one, Lys. Zeusia sent out the army to retrieve Lys, and thankfully they came back with her. But since Lys was only 2 at the time and too young to rule, the Ponyhead Kingdom didn't have a ruler and weather started to go wild. Zeusia had to come up with another idea, and so she did. She could not keep up with controlling the weather 24/7, so she created a staff very similar to the butterfly family wand, with 3 main crystals at the top made of celestite. She placed it on the rock in the Ponyhead Kingdom, and it controlled the weather until Lys was of age to rule. The staff later became known as the Weather Staff, and could also be used in battle, but that didn't happen until the First Munian War. Zeusia passed the wand down to her daughter in 414, and in the same year enrolled Etherio and Germania to train to become knights for their birthday 9th. Sideria received the crown in 418, and Zeusia later saw the birth of her first granddaughter, Persefona, in 420. The rest of Zeusia's years were calm. She mainly spent time with her grandkids and husband. She lived to see her Persefona become queen in 439, and saw the birth of her great-granddaughter Saturnia the same year. Zeusia passed away in 440 due to natural causes, and a memorial made of clouds was erected in this castle garden to pay tribute to her. Zeusia and her butterfly form. And that was the biography of Zeusia, the Queen of Clouds, by Infamixy on DeviantArt. I hope you all enjoyed listening. Make sure to go check out the rest of the videos and Queens by Infamixy if you enjoyed. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. See you next time. Farewell!